How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running the excellent Halloween sale right now. There are tons of great deals. Some games I wouldn't even say fit the Halloween theme, but who gives a damn when the deals are this good? We've got 15 deals to go over. Now, I am not going to be looking at deals under $10 or under $5. I decided why not this time around start off with some of the more expensive deals. Gives me the opportunity to mention some of those games that I don't mention all too often. So we're looking at anywhere from $11 all the way up. I think the most expensive game I have here is $36. So a lot of good stuff. Let's get right into it. Here's a game and a franchise that definitely fits the horror theme and the Halloween theme. Resident Evil 4, 50% off for $19.99. I believe this is a new low for the Resident Evil base game, Resident Evil 4 base game. They do have the gold edition now. That's not on sale, but guys, RE4 remake is one of my favorite games, probably of the last decade or so. I mean, I'm already very vocal about the fact that Resident Evil 4, playing it on the PlayStation 2, was already one of my favorite games of all time. You taking that game, you do an excellent remake of it, you're getting one of my favorite games of all time again, and Resident Evil 4 was exactly that. And I saw somebody comment on it in our video where we did the where we talked about the Halloween sale initially, but RE4 probably was my game of the year last year. Like, I can't think of, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but for me, Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 didn't resonate with me as much as everyone else. I get it that people don't want to give a remake game of the year, but man, RE4 was so damn good that I feel like it just deserves that. For $19.99, you guys, even if you're not into horror games, even if you're not into the Resident Evil titles, play Resident Evil 4, I assure you, it's tremendous, and for sub $20, it's a no-brainer. Resident Evil Village is also on sale, 60% off for $15.99. Great deal for Resident Evil Village, another Resident Evil title that I really enjoyed. Atmosphere is great, gameplay solid, narratively quite good. I do recommend you to play Biohazard Resident Evil 7 first, but, you know, nonetheless, $16 for this is quite good, so definitely worthwhile pick up there. Next up, we got a Plague Tale Innocence, 70% off for $11.99. Absolutely loved Plague Tale Innocence. Just thought it was a great game from a narrative standpoint. Gameplay is fairly good, but you are primarily going into this game for the excellent storytelling and the atmosphere, and those elements of this game, they knock out of the park. And what I always say about Plague Tale Innocence and narrative games in general is sometimes it can be a little bit slow in hooking the player into the game. You know, take a couple hours for them to really set all the pieces and get into motion. Plague Tale Innocence, I really feel like hooks the player within the first 30 minutes or so, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why Plague Tale resonates with a lot of people. The darker ambiance is great main character, 70% off, $11.99, great pickup there. After this, obviously, go play Requiem as well. Ghostwire Tokyo, 75% off for $14.99. Always gonna have a soft spot for this game because this was like the legit first game I feel like I got early from a developer or publisher, and yeah, shout out to Tango Gameworks and Bethesda for that one. Unfortunately, Tango got shut down, but then they got acquired by Krafton, but Krafton didn't acquire the Ghostwire IP. I don't think Ghostwire Tokyo was ever gonna get a sequel anyway, but Ghostwire Tokyo is a solid game. 75% off for $15 is like the perfect price point for it. Great visuals, atmosphere is great. Now, narratively, this game starts off incredibly compelling. You got this mysterious main antagonist as well that I feel like was a really big hooking point for the game. However, ultimately, the second half of the game, and really just the pacing in general, all over the place, and the conclusion isn't all that satisfying, which is such a bummer. They did update the game with more content. The Spiders update added another layer to the game, but the gameplay is really good, the visuals are great, sound design is excellent, and those aspects of the game are really strong, and the narrative initially starts off really good, ultimately doesn't leave with a lasting impression and in the sense of being a very satisfying experience. Narratively, gameplay-wise, I would say it's worthwhile. $15, great pickup there. Next up, we got Soul Hackers 2, 75% off for $14.99. I really enjoyed Soul Hackers 2. I know a lot of people think it was relatively mediocre. As a dungeon-crawling, turn-based RPG, I think it's fairly well done. Awesome soundtrack. Love the main character in Ringo. She is just one of my favorite main characters out of a JRPG. I think she's great, and the rest of the cast is solid. The narrative overall, a lot of twists and turns, however, some of it is a little bit predictable, but overall, I would say the game was quite good. Now, some of the dungeon design, okay, I could definitely understand the criticism from that standpoint. Some of the dungeons are just terrible, but for $15, I still think overall it's a worthwhile pickup, and I would say give it a look. Relatively lengthy game as well, but not the lengthiest RPG or JRPG either. You could probably finish it in around 40 hours from my recollection. I played it right when it came out, and actually, Sega was nice enough to hook me up with a copy of this game pre-release like a month before release, actually, and yeah, enjoyed it quite a bit. But it certainly did have its pitfalls. Pillars of Eternity, the Complete Edition, 75% off for $12.49. You got Pillars of Eternity and the White March expansions here. This is a game that I feel like is tailored more so to the PC audience. However, it works really well with the PlayStation 4 controller. You know, most of you are playing on PS5, but bit of a throwback RPG, a lot of depth to the world, and the writing's really good. Feel like the gameplay's solid. It's a throwback RPG, but at the same time, accessible to a newer audience, and narratively, world-building, think it's incredibly strong. Excited to see how Avowed turns out. I know it's not going to be on PlayStation, but, you know, it is set in the same world and a totally different style of RPG, but we'll see how that game turns out. $12.49 for Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition. Quite a good pickup there. Next up, Dying Light 2 Stay Human, 60% off for $24. Still a hefty price point for a game that at this point is closing in on 3 years old. That is insane to think about, but it came out in February of 2022. So we're what, 32 months removed from the release of the game, if my math is correct? It's been quite a while. I really enjoyed Dying Light 2. Is it as good as Dying Light 1? No, but I still think the world, the traversal, I think the exploration, those elements are incredibly well done. Narratively, Dying Light 2, much like Ghostwire Tokyo, really fumbles the bag. It starts off incredibly, literally same thing. Starts off incredibly compelling. Second half, up until the conclusion, just not as satisfying, which is so unfortunate. But overall, still a game that I would recommend. And for $24, I think it's a great pickup. A lot of content, a lot of replayability, and a game that I think you guys are gonna enjoy. This is now released as the Reloaded Edition that also includes the Bloody Ties DLC. And there will be more DLC content. I shouldn't actually say that. There isn't another major DLC pack. They actually spun the second piece of DLC into a full game, Dying Light the Beast, which looks fantastic. That game looks awesome, but $24 for Stay Human, definitely a good pickup there. A lot of content for your dollar. Next up, a little bit on the pricier side, but From Software title, got a From Software, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, 40% off for $35.99. I said it in my Halloween sale video, but this is the most comical, Halloween-themed deal. Yeah, let me go outside and dress up as a mech for Halloween. Let me see how that's like. I mean, it would be pretty badass. I ain't gonna lie, actually, now that I think about it. However, Armored Core is awesome. I've said it for years and years and years on this channel that we need more big budget mech titles in gaming in general. Gigantic robots beating the hell out of each other. I just feel like, who's not into that? Who is not into gigantic robots creating carnage? Maybe it's just a me thing growing up watching mecha anime, but it's something I want more of, and thankfully From Software, so happy to see that even though they have a surefire success with all of their work in the Souls-like title, that they got the green light to go ahead and do a new Armored Core game. And sure, this game isn't going to be received like Elden Ring, it's not going to be received like From Software's Souls games, but it still did fairly well commercially, and it shows that they're a studio that has a little bit of finesse to them. They could do other things, and Armored Core 6 was awesome as an action mech title. It was great, a lot of emphasis on the customizability, and yes, you could look up a guide and that'll really ease your experience, but it can get fairly challenging, and experimenting in the game is one of the most enjoyable aspects to it. $35.99 is pricey, I get it, it's over a year old, it's like 14 months old at this point, but man, I really enjoyed the game and I still think it's a good pickup. Next up, Castlevania Dominus Collection, 20% off for $19.99. It's only 20% off, but this just came out back in August. Stealth release by Konami. I have no idea why they didn't do a bit of a promotional push for this, because this is an awesome, awesome collection. It takes the 3 Castlevania titles that were released on the Nintendo DS, and you have them all in one collection. You also have Haunted Castle Revisited, a redesigned version of the very first Castlevania arcade game. I always forget to mention that when talking about this, but it's promoted around Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. I own all 3 of these games physically on the Nintendo DS, grew up playing these games. Played Portrait of Ruin first, then I played Dawn of Sorrow, which was a follow-up to Aria of Sorrow, which was released on the Game Boy Advance, and then Order of Ecclesia as well. All 3 games are great. They are fantastic, fantastic games. Obviously, when you're talking about re-releasing Nintendo DS games, little bit wonky as far as getting the dual screen setup goes. It happened the same thing with the Mega Man collection, with Mega Man Zero. I should say with Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent, which is, you know, it is what it is. It's not like they're gonna ground up remake these games, although they should. They absolutely should ground up. Can you even think about a Portrait of Ruin ground up remake? Oh my goodness, take all my money. But Dominus collection for $19.99, awesome deal. That $25 price point was already great. Even a slight 20% off discount is fantastic. Check it out, it's great. Next up, Lies of P, 40% off for $35.99. Now, I always say, Souls-like games, not my cup of tea. I am not the person to meticulously assess design choices of Souls-like games. I can assess them as far as how I enjoy them, and a lot of the times for me, Souls-like titles, what I appreciate about them is the design choices from world design, atmosphere, and things of that nature. That's why I loved Bloodborne so much, and by far it's my favorite From Software Souls-like title. Lies of P has a lot of that resonating at a high level. The atmosphere, ambiance is great, gameplay has depth to it, and generally speaking, all my boys that are super into Souls-like games, Lies of P is the one outside of the From Software titles that everybody seems to rave about as well. You know, it seems to be one that a lot of people really enjoyed. We're gonna get more DLC, we're gonna get a sequel, so, you know, they're doing good stuff over there. So, $36, another game that came out over a year ago, still holding up in price. What can you do? Dead Cells, 50% off for $12.49. Now, this is just the base game of Dead Cells. The Medley of Pain bundle is on sale. It's 40% off for $24, and you know, I would probably say go ahead and pick that up. That's a part of the fall savings sale, but that gets you Bad Seed, Queen in the Sea, Fatal Falls, and Return to Castlevania. All of the other DLC. You can get the base game for $12.49. Dead Cells is awesome. Motion Twin kept this game updated for a very long time. Then they did paid DLC as well. Dead Cells is great. A lot of replayability and a very, very addicting game for $12.49. A great pickup there. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition is 60% off for $15.99. Love me some DMC5. I'm pretty vocal that I'm not crazy about Devil May Cry from a narrative standpoint, but gameplay-wise, soundtrack, just high-octane action gameplay, it's fantastic. Devil Trigger is still one of the goated battle themes or, you know, game songs. $16 for this, a great pickup, definitely a worthwhile look there. Cat Quest 3, 20% off for $15.99. This just came out, so while not a sizable discount, I still think it's a solid deal. Cat Quest is an incredibly accessible, charming RPG. Very much on the shorter side. You've got co-op play in Cat Quest 3 as well, so certainly do check it out. Has a little bit of a pirate theme going on for it, and a lot of puns in the game as well. If you're looking for something to play with your kid, or, you know, getting somebody younger, a younger sibling, whatever the case may be, into video games, I mean, Cat Quest 3 is relatively accessible. And it seems like people love their cat games, you know, with, what's it called, Stray recently crushing it as well. Next up, this is a game I really gotta give more of a mention to. Laika Age Through Blood. You guys do not sleep on this game. Described as a Motorvania, it is a really, really artistic and narratively driven title as well. Visually, it looks fantastic, set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Gameplay is good, and as a side-scrolling Metroidvania, really, really well done. I think a lot of people will be surprised. If the visual style compels you, check it out from that standpoint, but it's really well done. And it didn't get a lot of attention, but has a beautiful visual style, a great story, and, you know, well done vehicular gameplay. I would say for $12.99 for the standard price, $11.99 if you're a Plus subscriber, solid pickup, and if you want to wait for it to get cheaper, I get it. Add it to your wish list, but the game didn't get a lot of attention, and it definitely deserves more. Lastly, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, 70% off for $11.99. A fantastic Metroidvania here. Obviously, if you're remotely into Castlevania, you'll enjoy Bloodstained as well. Gameplay is great, visuals are great, soundtrack is really good. $12 is great. It is available on Plus Extra, so, you know, there is that, but awesome game. Definitely do check that out. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available as a part of the Halloween sale. Links to all of these in the description box below. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.